Discover the incredible 3-month journey of a single dad that forever changed a CEO's life. Mike Thompson wiped the sweat from his brow, steam rising from the engine he had just repaired. Another day ended at Thompson's auto repair, but his night was just beginning. As a single dad of 2 energetic kids, there was always something to juggle. He finished checking the car, closed the hood, and smiled at the thought of seeing his kids' faces light up when he walked through the door. But just as he was about to leave, the bells of the shop door jingled, and a woman walked in, looking disheveled and panicked. "Excuse me, my car broke down a few blocks away. Can you help me?" It was Jessica Harper, the high-powered CEO he had only seen in the media, sharp suits, designer shoes, and an aura of authority that felt miles away from his world. He saw the frustration in her eyes, a rare vulnerability breaking through her polished exterior. Mike said, "Absolutely. I'll take care of it." That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Mike worked on her luxury car while Jessica sat on a stool, nervously tapping her fingers. Their conversations flowed, revealing a shared humanity despite their vastly different worlds. He spoke of family dinners and bedtime stories, while she shared tales of boardroom battles and sleepless nights tangled in corporate pressure. They laughed, shared, and slowly built a bridge across their life experiences, but the night wasn't just delectable banter. There was something magical about the honesty that seeped between them. For Mike, Jessica was an unexpected light in the midst of his daily grind, and for Jessica, Mike was a reminder of the roots she'd almost forgotten. As they closed the shop together in the midnight hour, a whispered connection lingered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks as they met more often. She'd drop by to keep him company during late shifts. Mike would listen intently as Jessica opened up about her struggles with corporate politics and the weight of leadership. The raw honesty made her heart swell. Here was a man facing financial hardships, yet managing to be a pillar of strength and kindness to his kids and community. And then, one night, when the air was thick with possibility, Jessica felt her heart flip when Mike shared how hard it was to juggle work and parenting. "Sometimes it feels like I'm barely keeping my head above water," he admitted, eyes sincere. In that instant, she understood the privilege she almost took for granted, the balance that was essential for real success. Mike's world revealed itself as a blueprint for resilience, but the peace was fleeting. A scandal erupted within her company, blindsiding her with intensity. Sides were taken, papers flew, and the morality she stood for felt like murky waters. Just as she began to formulate a plan to advocate for family initiatives shaped by Mike's stories, a shadow loomed, threatening the connection she cherished. As the pressure mounted, she found herself at a crossroads. Would ambition choke her dreams for change, or could she dare to be the voice for the hardworking folks like Mike? In that moment, the stakes felt higher than ever. Jessica sat at her desk, the chaos of the company swirling around her. The scandal had ignited like a wildfire, and the once calm office felt suffocating. She rubbed her temples and glanced at the phone, half hoping to receive a text from Mike. Their late-night talks had become a soothing balm, a reminder of the grounded life she once knew. But this time, her fingers hesitated. How could she reach out when she was engulfed in a storm of her own making? Her thoughts drifted back to their conversations, the wisdom in Mike's words about family, integrity, and the weight of responsibility. In those quiet moments of laughter and understanding, he provided her with clarity she couldn't find in the boardroom. It was maddening how much she yearned to share her internal struggle with him. Meanwhile, Mike was home, surrounded by the laughter of his kids, a bittersweet reminder of the balance he fought for every day. He had learned to navigate those familiar waters with grace, but the anxiety of Jessica's impending meeting weighed heavily on him. He could sense the tide shifting, and while he had hoped their bond would grow stronger, uncertainty loomed. One evening, as the kids sprawled on the living room floor with coloring books, Mike received a text from Jessica. "Just as simple, can we meet?" Followed by an address for a cafe downtown. His heart raced, a part of him was thrilled, yet another part felt the heaviness of her troubles. Arriving at the cafe, Mike spotted Jessica through the window, her shoulders slumped, and a distant look in her eyes. She spotted him and managed a faint smile, but he could see the worry etched on her face. He approached her table, concern flooding his heart. "You okay?" he asked, sliding into the chair opposite her. "I'm not sure," she sighed. "Things at the office have gotten out of control. I feel like I'm losing the very essence of why I wanted to make the changes in the first place." Mike's heart ached for her. "What do you mean?" "I thought I could be a voice for the employees, but now it feels like they only see me as a target. Trust is crumbling, and every step I take feels like it's dragging me deeper into a pit." "Jessica, you're stronger than you think," he said gently, "you've got a vision. Don't let temporary chaos drown out your dreams." She glanced down, not wanting to look vulnerable in front of him. "It's just so hard. I came from a place of fighting for what's right, but now you can either sit back and watch or be the change you want to see," he interrupted, leaning in earnestly. "Remember the people who rely on you, the ones who need a voice just as you once did." Tears welled in her eyes, and for a brief moment, she felt as if she could breathe again. Mike had lifted a weight, if only temporarily. She had grown tired of fighting this battle alone, and here was a man who believed in her when her faith was wavering. But Mike's words echoed in her mind, urging her to take the next step. She reached for his hand, a newfound determination coursing through her. "What if I start small? What if I encourage more family-friendly policies? It won't solve everything, but it's a start." Mike nodded, pride swelling in his chest. "That's how it begins, one step at a time." As they sat together, the cafe buzzed with life around them, but Mike and Jessica felt their own private universe, igniting with hope. What began as a chance encounter was now a beacon of light amidst their struggles, but on the horizon, the storm clouds were still gathering. As Jessica contemplated her next steps, an unexpected message popped up on her phone. It was from her assistant, revealing whispers of sabotage within the company, a secret that threatened to unravel everything. With her heart pounding, she knew she needed to choose her next move carefully. Would she continue to fight for the change she believed in, or would fear cause her to retreat? The answer would shape not just her career, but the connection they had forged. And as Mike looked into her eyes, he realized the weight of the moment. Just how far would they be willing to go? To stand together in the face of adversity? Jessica's heart raced as she read the message again, her mind whirling with the implications. Whispers of sabotage. The word echoed in her mind like a drumbeat, each beat fueling her anxiety. She didn't need more chaos, she needed a plan. "What's wrong?" Mike asked, noticing the rapid change in her demeanor. She took a deep breath, holding the phone tightly. "It's my assistant. She just informed me that there are rumors going around someone is working against me." Mike leaned in, concern thickening the air around them. "What kind of rumors?" "It sounds like someone is trying to undermine everything I'm trying to do for the company. They're saying I'm not fit for this role, that I'm just a pawn." She looked away, struggling to hold back the tears. "Mike, this could destroy everything I've built." "No, it won't," he said firmly. "You're stronger than that. Let us figure this out together." His words sparked a flicker of hope in her chest. For a moment, she forgot about the weight of the world on her shoulders. "You really think so?" "Absolutely. You've got a vision. And now we need a strategy, not just for the rumors but the policies you want to implement. We can make a plan together." Jessica nodded slowly, feeling a resurgence of strength. She couldn't allow fear to dictate her actions. "What if we rallied the employees to support the changes I want?" If we show that there is a collective demand for family-friendly policies, it might silence the dissent. Mike smiled, his pride visible. That's a great start. Let us set up a meeting, maybe even an open forum. People need to know they're being heard, and you can lead that charge. The thought ignited a fire in Jessica. She reached for his hand across the table, feeling the connection between them deepen. I can't keep doing this without you. That's what I'm here for. He squeezed her hand, grounding her. As they brainstormed ideas, the atmosphere shifted. Glimmers of hope filled the spaces between their words as they put together a plan to regain control of the narrative within the company. The idea of an open forum seemed to electrify her spirit like a sweet, familiar melody. But as they pored over their strategy, the cafe hummed around them with conversations and laughter, a stark contrast to the heaviness in her heart. She couldn't shake the feeling that while they were laying the groundwork for something great, danger lurked just beyond reach. Later that evening, just as Jessica was about to leave, her phone vibrated with another message. This time it was a more ominous note, a single line that sent a chill down her spine. You're treading on dangerous ground. Her heart pounded as she locked eyes with Mike, who had watched her deepening worry. What's wrong now? There are threats, she whispered, the words feeling foreign on her tongue. I need to be careful, Mike. I think someone is watching my every move. The room felt colder, and Mike's intensity sharpened. We need to take this seriously. Do you have any idea who it might be? Jessica's thoughts raced. Could it be someone on the board? An employee she inadvertently challenged? Doubt crept in, threatening to subvert her newfound resolve. I don't know, but I can't let this stop me. I won tea. Then let us dig deeper. We'll unearth the truth together, Mike declared, his determination radiating into the atmosphere. Her heart swelled as she realized how far they had come in just a short time. They were united, a team, and nothing could break that bond. As they prepared to leave the cafe, Jessica's phone buzzed again. An unknown number this time. She narrowed her eyes, dread creeping in as she hesitated to check. What kind of threat awaited in the shadows? With a trembling hand, she pressed the message open and another world of worry unfolded in front of her. What lay ahead was uncertain, but she could feel the storm brewing. Would they find a way to endure, or would the darkness shatter their fragile hopes? And as Jessica's fingers hovered over the screen, the question loomed larger than ever: what price would she pay to stand her ground? Jessica's heart raced as she opened the new message, her stomach twisting in knots. The screen illuminated her face, her eyes scanning the ominous words, "You can't hide from the truth forever." What does it say? Mike asked, leaning closer, his voice laced with concern. Just this, nothing that makes sense. She swallowed hard. I don't know who this is from. But it feels like a threat, like they know something about me or my plans. Mike's expression shifted to one of fierce determination. We're not going to let this derail us. We need to stay focused on the meeting, on rallying support. If we can bring the employees together, it might drown out any of these whispers. Jessica nodded, but uncertainty gnawed at her. Every decision she made now felt like walking a tightrope. What if it goes the other way? What if the board doesn't back me? What if they see this as weakness? Then we show them strength, Mike insisted. You've got to believe in your vision. Remember why you started this in the first place. Think of those families who could benefit from your policies. They are counting on you. His words sparked warmth in her chest, but the fear lingered. What if someone was intentionally trying to sabotage her? A cold breath of doubt threatened to extinguish the flicker of hope ignited by Mike. After their conversation, Jessica couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, images of the boardroom swirled in her mind. She envisioned the faces of her colleagues, some supportive, others calculating. Jessica suddenly sat up in bed, heart pounding. What if I'm being watched? What if someone was waiting for her to make a mistake? The thought felt suffocating. She needed to be strategic. She grabbed her laptop and fired off an email to all employees, inviting them to the open forum. Transparency was the keyword that echoed in her mind. She needed to build a community around her vision, not just to defend herself, but to foster solidarity. After sending the email, she felt slightly lighter. Perhaps this would be a chance not only to bring her ideas to light but also to gauge who might be on her side. Connection in a time of uncertainty felt like a lifeline. The following day, she arrived early at the office, the anticipation buzzing in the air. As employees filtered in, her pulse quickened. She felt the weight of their eyes, sensing the mixture of doubt and curiosity. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice steady. "I know that recent rumors have made things tense, but I want to provide clarity and share my vision for family-friendly policies." As she spoke, Mike caught her eye, offering an encouraging smile that steadied her resolve. But halfway into her presentation, the door swung open, and Jim from payroll walked in, a familiar face, but one she hadn't expected. He was known for his no-nonsense demeanor, and she had always considered him a straight shooter. "Can I say something?" Jim asked, his expression serious. "Yes, of course," Jessica replied, trying to keep her tone inviting even as her stomach twisted in apprehension. "Look, I've heard the rumors, too, and frankly, it looks bad. But what I want to say is that I think there's a lot of potential in what you're proposing. But we need to figure out how to address those who think you're not fit for this role." His honesty struck a chord. She could see employees shifting, murmurs growing. Was this the tipping point she needed? Or was it only the beginning of an avalanche of dissent? As hope swelled within her, a sudden buzz from her pocket interrupted her thoughts. Another message. Jessica hesitated, then pulled her phone out as Jim continued talking. The moment she saw it, her breath caught in her throat. "You will regret this." Jessica's heart sank, her resolve teetering. She glanced at Mike, who was watching her with just as much concern and now, maybe fear. Could she really navigate this storm? Would it crush her spirit, or would it light the fire she needed to push through? And as the forum continued, one question loomed large: was she ready for the battle ahead, or was this only the calm before the real storm? Jessica's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage like a drummer urging the band to play on. The room felt both charged and heavy. Every inch of her skin prickled with tension as she reread the message. Who was out there, watching, waiting? She felt exposed, like the spotlight had turned on her, and everyone was waiting for her to slip up. Jim's voice faded into the background as she tried to collect her thoughts. "You will regret this." Those words echoed with each pulse in her ears. There was a world of difference between believing in her vision and confronting the forces working against it. "Jessica." Mike's voice cut through her haze, pulling her back to the present. "Did you hear what Jim said?" His brow furrowed, eyes searching hers for any sign of composure. "Yeah, I did. It's just, I need to stay focused." She forced a smile, but it felt brittle. "Folks, are we listening to what Jim is saying?" Mike addressed the room, bringing back attention. "This is about change, real change that we can all get behind." Hesitation washed over the crowd. Jessica could see the faces of her colleagues still wrestling with doubt. Did they believe in her? Or were they afraid? She held her breath, heart thudding, urging them to see the light she saw. Change can be hard, but the benefits are enormous. Jessica took a deep breath, letting words spill out like a warm current. Families, work-life balance, a more compassionate workplace. Isn't that what we all want? To feel secure in our jobs, to know our loved ones are supported. Some heads nodded, hope flickered in her chest. But underneath that, she felt the coldness of the threat lingering. Jim shifted, setting the tone again. "What can we, as a team, do? Jessica has placed her faith in us. But it works both ways. Right?" Mike jumped in, energized. "Let us think about how we can drown out the noise. What if we rallied support for her initiatives? A petition, maybe? A show of hands of those who agree with these policies. The suggestion ignited murmurs. Jessica's heart soared. This was what she hoped for, a tide of support, a united front that would make her listen to nothing but optimism. She locked eyes with Mike, who was now fully engaged. Let's do a show of hands. Someone called out, their voice gaining momentum. If you're in favor, raise your hand. Faces lit up as arms shot up around the room, some hesitant at first, but then many more followed. Jessica felt like she could breathe as she looked at all that support, each raised hand lifting her spirits. But doubt still whispered in her ears. How long would this feeling last? Just as the applause for their collective agreement began, another vibration from her phone interrupted her moment of triumph. Tension gripped her again as she stared at the screen. You think this ends here? Remember, I'm always watching. Fingers trembling, Jessica looked up, eyes scanning the faces around her. The atmosphere had shifted, some lively with encouragement, others concerned, as if sensing her unraveling threads. Is everything okay? Mike asked, his voice low, a statement not a question as he caught her eye. She clenched her fist, resolute yet terrified. I'm all right. I can't let this stop me. I won T back down. But would she be able to stand her ground as those dark warnings continued to loom? The meeting wrapped up with a pulse of energy, but her insides remained unsettled. As she stood to leave, filled with adrenaline from the support but frosted by the threats, she wondered how deep this intrigue ran. What would she uncover next? Who was behind those messages, and why? Jessica stepped out of the room, determination blending with uncertainty. The war was on, and she was the target. Did she have the strength to fight back? And with the shadows creeping in, the real question loomed: if the battle inside these walls was just beginning, what external forces were ready to strike next? Jessica stepped into the dimly lit hallway, her heart still buzzing from the meeting. The air felt thicker than usual, as if the walls were closing in. A sense of adrenaline coursed through her, mixed with the lingering terror of that message. Who had sent it? Mike followed her out, concern etched on his face. You still look shaken, he said gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. You're not alone in this. We believe in you. His words provided a flicker of comfort, yet doubts loomed over her like storm clouds. I know, but Jim, he is powerful. What if this is just the beginning? Then we'll face it together. Mike's resolve added strength to her own. She wanted to believe him, wanted to believe that they could push through whatever darkness was coming. As they walked down the corridor, her mind raced. Was this fight worth it if it put everyone at risk? They reached the elevators, the soft ding of the door punctuating her thoughts. Let us get some coffee. We need a plan, Mike said, moving into the elevator beside her. As the doors closed, she caught another glimpse of her reflection. She looked worn, like a soldier preparing for battle. The coffee shop across the street buzzed with life. The smell of fresh brews filled the air, a welcome distraction. Jessica and Mike found a small table in the corner, their coffee steaming between them. How do I combat this? She asked, resting her head in her hands. I can't let Jim win. But I feel so exposed. Mike leaned in, his voice low but determined. We need to rally more support. Those who raise their hands, they need to feel empowered to stand up as well. Your vision might inspire them to act. I hope you're right, she said, glancing out the window at the bustling street. What if they don't want to get involved? What if they're too scared? Then we show them what's at stake. This is about more than just policies, Jess. It's about creating a better future for everyone. You're their voice. His passion rekindled a flicker of hope within her. You really think so? Absolutely, Mike replied. But you need to dig deeper. Find out what makes them tick. Reach their hearts and minds. Every bit of encouragement from Mike felt like a warm blanket against the chill of her fears. She sipped her coffee, the heat warming her hands, and for the first time since receiving that message, she felt a sense of clarity. Maybe we could hold a larger meeting, she said slowly, the gears in her brain turning. Invite everyone, open the floor for discussions. We can share stories, experiences, build a community. Exactly. Mike's excitement was contagious. People love personal stories. It makes them feel connected. Let us brainstorm those stories. But just as her spirit started to lift, her phone vibrated violently against the table once more. The unsettling dread crawled back. Jessica looked down, her heart tightening. Another message? Mike asked, concern flooding his eyes. With shaking hands, she turned the screen towards him. It read, "You think they'll support you forever? Just wait and see. There's more coming." Silence enveloped them, the world outside the shop melting away. It was as if the vibrant patter of life had stopped, leaving only the ominous echo of her phone vibrating against the table. What do we do? Mike asked, brow furrowed. The gravity of the situation pressed down on them both. Jessica looked out the window, the chaos of the street running in stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside her. She could feel the walls of her resolve starting to crack. But she couldn't crumble, not now. We find out who's behind this, she said, her voice steady, though her heart raced in terror. As they filled their cups and planned their next steps, a chill crept in. Whatever lay ahead, Jessica knew one thing for certain, the battle was only just beginning. Who was watching, and what would they do when the truth started to unravel? Jessica's fingers trembled as she put her phone down, the weight of uncertainty pressing on her chest. I can't let this get to me, she whispered, trying to convince herself more than Mike. We'll figure it out, Mike reassured her, though his eyes betrayed a hint of worry. He shifted in his seat, leaning closer. Let us brainstorm some ideas for that meeting. You've got this. Right, she replied, forcing a nod. It was time to focus, to push down the fear gnawing at her thoughts. They needed to solidify their plan, to gather enough people to make a difference. The message screamed threat, yet she wouldn't give in to the paranoia. Okay, we'll start by sending out a flyer, she suggested, tapping her fingers on the table, feeling the rhythm ground her. We can make it personal, empower everyone with stories from the past. Trending stories might help, Mike added. Ask people to share how they overcame adversity. Create a movement. His enthusiasm warmed her heart, sparking something within her. Yes. We can highlight those stories in our meeting. People need to see they're not alone in this. But as they spoke, she couldn't shake the nagging feeling that Jim had something more up his sleeve. It was all-consuming, every scenario flashing through her mind like a rapid slideshow. She abruptly stood up, fear a bruising weight settling deeper. Jess. Mike's voice pulled her away from her spiraling thoughts. I need to breathe, she stammered, stepping outside into the cool afternoon air. The crispness was a shock, but it helped clear her mind. With each breath, she let the sunlight wash over her, her heart slowly decelerating. Yet doubt still clung to her like a shadow. What if we create a divide instead of a community? She pondered out loud, wishing she could find a way to fortify her confidence. Mike stepped outside, hands in his pockets. You won tea. People are desperate for connection. The world outside needs voices like yours. Can you picture the impact you'd have? She glanced at him, determination surging. Let us start reaching out now. Their energy renewed, they retreated to the coffee shop, quickly drafting a flyer. Every detail from the font to the colors was chosen deliberately. They worked fast, ideas bubbling to the surface like a wellspring, both inspired by the thought of making a difference. Then, just as the excitement peaked, Jessica's phone chimed again. Dread gripped her, but she fought it down and glanced at the screen, her breath catching in her throat. This time, it read, You think they'll join you? What do you know about them? Another threat? Mike asked, eyes wide. No more of a taunt, Jessica whispered, her spirits crashing. Was it intimidation or just a sick game to break her resolve? Forget him, Mike said, anger flashing in his eyes. "We're not backing down. You deserve to shine. There's too much at stake." Gathering what was left of her courage, Jessica replied, "I won't allow Jim to silence me or those who stand with me. We'll meet him head on." "Then that's final," Mike said, a fierce determination lining his features. "Let us get to work." As they wrapped up their plans, a thought nagged at the back of her mind. What if this was only the start? With purpose, they set a date for the meeting, but as excitement coursed through her, so did fear. Could she truly pull this off? As they walked out, a figure emerged from the crowd, glancing their way a shadow of a threat. Jessica's heart raced. Who was it, and how close were they to her? Jessica tensed as she tried to make out the figure approaching them. Her heart raced, pounding out a hard tempo against her ribcage. The sunlight caught the person's face, and she felt a flicker of recognition. Instinctively, she took a step back, pulling Mike closer to her. "Do you see that?" she whispered, her voice shaking slightly. Mike glanced over, his brow furrowing. "Yeah, I do." "Who is that?" "It's Jim," she breathed, sensing the simmering tension wrapping around them like heavy fog. His expression was unreadable, but the glint in his eyes screamed hostility. "Stay behind me," Mike said, shifting his stance slightly, as if preparing for a confrontation. Jim strode up to them, a smug smile plastered across his face. Well, if it isn't Jessica and her little cheerleader," he sneered, his voice dripping with disdain. "You really think you can rally anyone to your cause?" Jessica felt a surge of anger mixed with fear. "Why are you here, Jim?" she challenged, trying to steady her voice. "What do you want?" "I just wanted to remind you how little you actually know about the people you're trying to inspire. They have their own lives, their own struggles. You think they'll just jump on board because you say so?" He leaned closer, his words sharp as knives. "People are stronger than you think," Mike interjected, stepping forward to stand defiantly beside Jessica. "They want to connect. They need hope." Jim raised an eyebrow. "Hope? That's cute. But when push comes to shove, they won't stand with you. You'll be left out in the cold." Jessica's chest tightened, fighting against the wave of despair creeping in. "No," she insisted, more to herself than him. "They'll see their own stories in this. We're building community, not division. Good luck with that." Jim chuckled mockingly before turning on his heel, leaving behind an unsettling silence. As his figure disappeared into the throng of people, Jessica felt the air shift. Her fear amplified momentarily, and she nearly slumped against Mike. Did he really mean it? She whispered, fighting the tears threatening to spill. "Forget what he said," Mike replied, his voice firm but gentle. "You have something real here, Jess. You can't let him steal your fire." She nodded but felt the ache of uncertainty still lingering like smoke in the air. What if he's right? What if no one shows up? Mike clasped her shoulder, meeting her gaze. "You won't know unless you try. And I'll be there every step of the way. We can still do this." With a deep breath, Jessica squared her shoulders. "You're right. If we can reach even one person, that's worth it." As the day eased toward twilight, they returned to the coffee shop, the atmosphere filled with a new sense of purpose. They spent hours fine-tuning their plans, pouring everything they had into their vision. Thoughts of Jim and his taunts faded, replaced by excited chatter about their goals. Yet, in the back of her mind, she couldn't silence the fear of failure or of the darkness lurking behind the challenge ahead. Doubt was incessantly nagging. What if instead of building a community, they were setting up for a disaster? Just as they finished revisiting the flyer, Jessica's phone buzzed again. She glanced at the screen, her heart dropping as she read the message, "Enjoy your little meeting. Just remember, the truth always comes out eventually." Jessica's breath hitched in her throat. Who had sent this, and what did they mean by the truth? All the doubt she had felt washed over her again like a tidal wave. Where was the light in this darkness? And who else knew about her plans? Jessica's heart raced, the words on her screen pulsing in her mind. She felt Mike's presence beside her, warm and steady, but the chill in her gut was relentless. What do they mean by the truth? She murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's not overthink this, Mike said, his eyes scanning the contents of her message. Could be someone trying to mess with you. People do that sometimes when they're threatened. Threatened? Jessica echoed, the word twisting in her stomach. It felt much too real now. What if I am doing something wrong? What if Jim is right about all of this? Mike took a deep breath. There's always going to be naysayers, Jess. You have to focus on your message and the people who actually care about it. Right. Focus on the good, Jessica nodded, trying to gather her courage. But the truth was, doubt lingered like a shadow, always watching. They sat in the coffee shop, their makeshift plan sprawled before them on the wooden table. Yet, Jessica couldn't shake the weight of the words haunting her, the implications of them slithering through every thought. Suddenly, the door chimed. A woman stepped inside, her face flushed and determined. Jessica. She called, and Jessica's heart lifted momentarily. I heard about what you're trying to do. I want to help. Really? Jessica's spirits brightened. That's amazing. My name's Sarah. I've been following your project ever since the start. I just haven't had the courage to reach out before now. She smiled, a breeze of fresh energy filling the room. Jessica suddenly felt lighter. Then join us. We're planning our first gathering to connect people and share stories. We can make this happen together. As they chatted, Mike leaned back, watching with an approving smile. For a moment, Jessica pushed aside her fears, reveling in the warmth of community, yet, without warning, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video link. Curiosity piqued, she opened it. What appeared was a shaky recording of the last event Jessica held, the quality poor yet the voices familiar, people connected, raw and real. But then came a voice she recognized all too well, Jim's. This was a waste of time, he scoffed. They're only here for the free coffee. Jessica felt her stomach drop as she watched the video play out. Was this the truth that would come out? The comments beneath the video flooded in, most negative, but a few rang with support. I don't understand, she breathed, her spirit feeling the sting of betrayal. Why would he do this? Who would go out of their way to undermine this? We'll figure this out, Mike said quickly, his voice firm. We can turn this around. Prove him wrong. But Jessica's mind wouldn't settle. What kind of truths were people hiding? Did Jim have connections within the group? Was it even worth trying to fight against what they said? Maybe I should just call it quits, she said, uncertainty creeping back in. No. Sarah interjected fiercely. You can't give up. This is more than just a few jokes online. You're building something real. You just have to push through. The fire ignited within her. Okay, Jessica affirmed, an ember of determination sparking again. Let us show Jim and whoever else is out there that we're not backing down. We'll start planning our event today. As they brainstormed, the energy in the coffee shop shifted from doubt to resolve. They mapped out ideas, envisioned the space filled with people ready to share, ready to connect, but another ping from her phone interrupted them, pulling Jessica back to the screen. A new message showed up, this one from an unknown number. You're playing with fire, Jessica. Be careful. The truth has a way of finding its way to the surface. Her heart sank again. This couldn't be happening. Jess, what is it? Mike asked, urgency creeping into his tone. At that moment, she knew things were about to change in ways she could never foresee. What other truths lurked beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered? And what would happen if she didn't face them head-on? Jessica sat at the wooden table, her heart racing as she stared at the ominous message on her phone. Mike leaned in closer, concern etched on his features. What does it say? Another threat, she replied, swallowing hard. You're playing with fire, Jessica. Be careful. The truth has a way of finding its way to the surface. A heavy silence fell around them. Jessica's stomach twisted into knots. The doubts felt like hidden daggers, ready to plunge into her resolve. But just as quickly as doubt crept in, determination surged. Enough is enough, she declared, her voice firmer than she felt. I can't keep letting this fear dictate my path. We are starting this event, and we're going to show everyone what we stand for. Mike nodded, pride filling his eyes. That's the spirit. Let us get the word out, build a strong foundation together. With Sarah by their side, they began to draw up plans for the gathering. Their energy was electric, fueled by hope and the power of connection. As they built their plan, envisioning the community they were about to create, the feeling of unity filled the air. They finalized details: the when, the where, and the how. The more they talked, the more feathery lightness spread within Jessica. They decided on a more personal touch, an open mic for anyone willing to share their story. It was a chance for other voices to be heard, a way to forge trust and solidarity among the employees. When the day came, a flutter of anxiety knotted in her stomach as she arrived at the gathering place. It felt surreal as she stepped inside, the fresh smell of coffee mingling with the distinct scent of possibility. Faces streamed in one by one, some nervous, others curious. As Jessica scanned the crowd, she felt a sense of belonging start to fill the gaps left by doubt. She caught Mike's encouraging glare from across the room. Welcome, everyone, she began, gripping the microphone tightly. This is about connection. We all strive for a better work-life balance, and we deserve a voice. The crowd listened closely, she could see the flicker of interest growing in their eyes. Stories unfolded like petals, vibrant and blooming as co-workers took to the mic, sharing experiences, struggles, and dreams. Laughter, tears, and connections blossomed around the room, yet amidst the joy, her phone buzzed again. Jessica hesitated but decided to open it, her heart thundering when she recognized Jim's name. Just remember, the truth always surfaces. Watch your back, read the messages that taunted her. She felt her composure waver. Jess, don't let him get to you, Mike leaned closer, his voice fierce. This is bigger than him. You're creating something meaningful here. The audience's energy surged. As the stories built a tapestry of shared humanity, Jessica felt her heart swell. They were stronger together. This was her truth, the truth that kept her own fire alive. In that moment, she pivoted. And I need all of you to know that together, we can make the workplace better, one voice at a time. Don't let fear silence your dreams. Cheers erupted from the audience, filling her heart with warmth and solidarity. Her message resonated loud and clear, refreshing, like a breeze on a hot summer day. As the gathering moved into the evening, something shifted. Amid the laughter and tears, Jessica found the strength swirling within her. She saw her community rising, allies she never knew she had. And when the room echoed back with applause, it drowned out every negative whisper Jim had spread. This was real and alive. The truth of their shared struggles turned into a force of empowerment that refused to back down. Weeks later, Mike and Jessica stood together, supporters, leaders, friends. As they wrapped up the final details for the new family-friendly policy proposal, Jessica's heart felt whole. She had transcended fear, found her voice, and lit sparks of change. In that moment, Jessica felt proud, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. She had started as a single soul navigating chaos, and now she was a beacon of hope, a guiding light for anyone yearning for connection. Cheers to us, Mike said, raising a coffee cup, grinning ear to ear. Cheers, she echoed, feeling a radiant smile spread across her face, warmth blossoming in her heart. Together, they walked forward, united and unwavering. No threats or shadows could dim this light. They were destined to shine, champions of change, embracing every challenge that came their way with strength and courage, and just as they stepped into the sunlight, Jessica whispered, "I will never stop fighting for us." If you found inspiration in this story, this is your chance to join our community. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every like counts. Comment your reaction. We want to hear about your feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to spread the word. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.